Hello everyone, my name is Nilesh Gulen. In this tutorial, I will talk about Spring Web MVC Architecture. In general, MVC architecture have three major components: model, view, and controller. View is used to display data to the user or input data from the user. Model object is used to transfer data from the view to the controller or controller back to the view. Controller object is responsible for server-side execution, which includes executing business logic, navigating to another view, and so on. In Spring Web MVC, view can be simple JSP web pages, or you may consider using TimeLeaf, FreeMarker, or Velocity templates. Models here are simple Java Pojo classes, which are used to collect the data coming from the view in form of request parameter, or can be used to send the data to the view as the request attributes. Spring implement front controller design pattern. Every request coming from the view is always hit to a front controller. Spring have implemented front controller as a servlet named as dispatcher servlet. This request is then given to handler mapping bean, which is responsible to find the request handler method corresponding to that URL. These methods are implemented in user-defined controller classes. Typically, these controller classes are implemented with stereotype annotations @controller, and the request handler methods are implemented using annotation @request mapping. Once the method is found, the dispatcher servlet will use handler adapter bean to invoke that method. In this process, if any data is coming in a request parameter, that can be collected into a Pojo object if specified in request handler method argument, and then the controller request handler method will be executed. This request handler method will in turn make a call to a business logic layer. Usually, business logic layer in Spring is implemented as Spring stereotype annotation @service, which in turn may access the database using data access layer, which is usually defined using @repository stereotype annotation. Once business logic is executed, controller can decide which view to be invoked and what data to be sent to that view. As this information is received by the dispatcher servlet, it will employ another object called as a view resolver. View resolver will take the view name that is coming from the user defined request handler method and will locate the actual view pages. If we are dealing with JSP views, usually they are located into root of web application or under web INF. Then those views will be processed, and during the process, if any data is sent from the request handler method in form of a model object, then that data will also be referred, and it will generate final HTML response. This response is sent back to the client. This explains the complete flow of how request is handled in typical Spring Web MVC application. Even though Spring Web MVC architecture seems little tricky at the first glance, implementing one simple application will give you more clarity. In next video, we will implement a simple calculator kind of web application which will gives us clear idea about how this entire flow is executing, and we will be able to gain little more confidence on Spring Web MVC. Thank you very much.